water, then there is no future, right? Without water, we cannot survive. We require water for our brushing, right? From the start of the day to the sleep of the day. We require water for brushing, for bathing, for cooking, for drinking. So there are many purposes where we require water for washing and everything. Then there is a saying that Jal hai to kal hai. Jal means water in Hindi. So if there is water only, then there is our future. Otherwise, there is no future. So that is why in the complete world, 22nd March of every year is regarded as World Water Day. Where on that day, people all over the world make posters, make slogans, and show to all the people of the world to enlighten them about the use of the proper use of the water. So, what have you ever heard of shortage of water at your home or school? You might have heard nowadays in India at many places there is shortage of water. In summers the borewells dry up, there will be no water at all, or sometimes there will be scarcity of drinking water. The drinking water at some places, the municipal water will not be supplied every day. Sometimes it will be supplied every alternate day or every third day. At that time we hear that there is shortage of water, shortage of water. If the borewells do not pull water in the summers, they say the borewells have dried up, there is no water coming up in the borewell. So that is shortage of water what you hear at your home or schools. Then what is the importance of conserving water? What advice can your teachers give you? Why should you conserve water? How can you conserve water? If you do not conserve water for the future generations, there will be no fresh water left anymore for their survival, and that will be a great difficulty for them. So what advice can teachers give you whenever you brush your teeth? So what you should do, you should not open the tap continuously. Only when you require you should open the tap. Otherwise close the tap when you are brushing. Otherwise use a mug of water while brushing. Do not run the water continuously from the tap. And while bathing, do not use showers. Use a bucket of water. So, and then when you are washing utensils, do not wash the utensils under a direct tap running water. You can take 2 buckets of water. In first bucket of water, wash the utensils first time after putting them with soap, rubbing them with soap. And in the second bucket, put fresh water, dip them second time for further cleaning. Like that, there are some ways in which you can conserve water. And then, while washing clothes, do not use washing machines much because washing machines consume a lot of water. Rather than using washing machines, you can take 2 buckets of water and wash your clothes. This is what some advice teachers can give you. Then there is a United Nations organization in the world which formulates all the rules for the persons in the world. So the United Nations has said that every person requires 50 liters of water per day. So one person requires 50 liters of water for all his purposes. Like what are the purposes? Cooking, drinking, washing and bathing. For these 4 purposes you require only 50 liters of water. How much does 50 liters make? 50 liters means 2.5 buckets of water. So that is very small amount, right? So do you think you are getting that water? If you are getting that water, you are very much fortunate, you are very much lucky, because there are many people in the world who do not even get that much water. They have to run kilometers daily. There are students who are missing their schools because they have to go to buy drinking water, or they have to go walk for kilometers together to get water. So there is lots of scarcity. So if you are getting 50 liters of water per day, I think you are very much lucky. Then in the summers we hear that there is a shortage of water. As the summer season comes up, all the borewells will be getting dried up. The groundwater will be getting dried up because of the presence of the water cycle. You know what is water cycle, right? So always shortage of water mostly occurs in the summers. Then water shortage is definitely a matter of concern. If there is no water for our daily needs, then we will have to face a lot of difficulty. So the 2003 year was regarded as the International Year of Fresh Water, where the people of the world were enlightened regarding the proper use of the water. Then have you ever wondered how much water is available for our use? Because if you see an image of a globe, or if you see any image of the earth, you see the earth is mostly bluish in color. Why is earth mostly bluish in color? Whatever bluish part you see in the globe or the images of the earth, that is completely water. So the 71% of the earth is water. That means it's a very large percentage, right? But still then out of this only 0.1% is available for drinking purposes. Why? Because 71% of the earth's water is present in the form of seas, oceans, lakes, ice caps. Ice caps means everywhere like ice. Then in the groundwater. But we can consume only fresh water. We cannot consume sea water. So most of the water present on the earth is in the form of sea water. So for a brief idea to explain you how much drinking water is available, we can take a small example. a bucket of water. A bucket of water is water on the earth. Imagine a bucket of water you have taken, and that constitutes for the complete water on the earth. So water on the earth is taken as an example. One bucket of water is taken as an example to tell you how much water is present on the earth. So this one bucket of water is the complete water on the earth, and it is mostly salt water or the saline water. Then from this one bucket of water you take one mug of water. From this one bucket of water, only one mug of water is fresh water. That is also mostly in the frozen form. Like in Antarctica, you know, the water is mostly frozen. So from one bucket of water present on the earth, only one mug of water is fresh water, and that too mostly it is in the frozen form. Then from that one mug of water, only one glass of water is in the usable form. That is groundwater form, inside the ground, in the borewell form, or in the tube wells form. So that is one glass. Again, from this one glass, you take one spoon of water. That one spoon of water is available to us in the form of lakes and rivers. That is fresh water. So this is a matter of concern that it is very less water is available to us. But still, due to constant usage of water, also the amount of water in the earth doesn't change because the water cycle takes place. So now we shall see how the amount of water doesn't change and what is water cycle. So what are the various forms of water? The water is available everywhere on the earth, right? 70% of the water. 70% of the earth is made up of water. Then what are the forms of water? Then water on the earth is maintained by water cycle. Then this water cycle is completely made up of water. So the water on the earth is in the three forms: solid, liquid and gaseous state. So the water on the earth is always in three forms: solid, liquid and gaseous state. And the amount of water is constantly maintained by the water cycle. Water cycle you have studied in class 6. Then water cycle, the three forms of water: solid, liquid and gaseous state. In solid state, how the water is present? In the snow form, in the ice form, and in the form of ice caps in the Antarctica regions, in the North Pole regions, where the temperature is always colder in the minus degrees. Then snow-covered mountains are there in the North Pole regions and in the Antarctica regions. Then glaciers are also there. So in all these places, the water is present in the snow form. Then moving on to the liquid form. In oceans, seas, rivers, lakes and underground water. In all these places, the water is present in the liquid form. Then only in the gaseous form. In the gaseous form, the water is present only in the form of water vapor. In the process of water cycle, the groundwater from the rivers, it will be heated up by the sunlight, right? Then it will turn into water vapor and then it evaporates. That is evaporation. Then it goes into the cloud. Then condensation happens. Then again it comes back as the rain. Then all this process is water cycle. So in this water cycle process, the water will be present in the gaseous form only in the water vapor. In the water vapor state, the water is present in the gaseous form. Then there is continuously cycling of water, as we said in the water cycle. So this continuous cycling of water helps in maintenance of the constant amount of water in the earth. So total amount of water on the earth, how can it be constant even though the people are using the water daily? Because of the presence of the water cycling occurring continuously. Then what are the sources of water supply? We get municipal supply of water in our houses, right, through pipes. So in towns and cities, the government or the civic bodies supply water. Whereas in villages, there is no such water pipeline supply. The people have to fetch water directly from the sources like rivers or ponds. Then this groundwater is definitely an important source of water which is used for drinking purpose. So to prove how groundwater we get, suppose you dig a small hole on the earth. After going to some level, few meters deep, you see the soil. The soil will be moisture rich, that means wet. Why? Because definitely there is presence of water. That is making the soil moisture rich. Water content is there. So if you dig a hole in the ground, you will feel moist soil. That indicates that there is water below the surface of the earth. Then if you go on digging deep, then what you see? You see spaces between particles of the soil and gaps between the rocks are filled with water. So as you dig deeper between the soil and the rocks, gaps will be there. Those gaps will be filled with water. So that upper limit of this water is known as water table. So this is one constant thing. So this upper limit of this layer where the water is present between the soils and the rocks, the upper limit of this layer is known as the water table. So the area present below the water table is known as the groundwater. So below the water table there is groundwater. So this groundwater gradually seeps down, that means goes down. The process of seeping of rainwater, river water and pond water into the ground, that constitutes for the groundwater. So whatever, have you ever thought how do fields get water, how they are have water below the earth everywhere. Suppose if we want water, we dig bore wells in our houses, right? So the water below the earth, below our houses, from where do they get the water there? So from where does the ground get that water? So the water present in the rivers, it gradually moves to the surfaces below the earth, below the surface, and it becomes groundwater. So the water which is present in freshwater bodies like the rivers, lakes, ponds, reservoirs, that water gradually moves to the earth and becomes groundwater. It seeps, goes down. So the process of seeping of rainwater, river water, pond water into the ground is known as infiltration. It occurs in the groundwater only. So infiltration is the process of seeping of the fresh water, rainwater, river water and pond water into the ground. So after the water table you are getting groundwater. So the groundwater, how it is getting the groundwater, how the ground is getting water, what are sources of the groundwater, rainwater, river water and pond water. The rainwater seeps gradually into the ground. So the process of seeping of this water into the ground is known as infiltration. Then after the process of seeping the water ground, the water has went down, then water will be stored there for future use. So groundwater is stored between the layers of hard rock below the water table. So that process is known as aquifer. So the groundwater after seeping into the ground, it will be stored for further use. That is known as aquifer. So that groundwater only comes up when we dig bore wells. For digging of bore wells, you see large trucks come, they bring lots of pipes, they go meters deep. As we go normally a bore well nowadays we dig 1000 feet deep, like that, 1000 feet, 1500 feet, because nowadays there is no groundwater at all. You have to go a lot of depth. So that is water from the aquifer is pumped out with the tube wells or hand pumps. Then these are only used at construction sites. So if somebody is constructing a house, they dig a bore well, right? A big lorry will come, truck with lots of pipes and machinery, gradually makes holes in the ground. So as they go deep, they will touch water. Where will they touch water? At the place of aquifer, where the groundwater will be stored between the layers of rock below the water table. So this is the place where water will be stored. And when we dig a tube well or a bore well or a machinized bore well, that water which comes to the earth from the ground is the water present at the level of aquifers. Thereby, in the construction sites everywhere, where do they get water from construction? They dig a bore well and they get the water through the aquifer. Then how does this water, its level is constantly maintained? The groundwater which is gradually pulled by the bore wells, how it is replenished with the help of rain. How is the recharge done? When all this water is taken up and used, how is the earth getting the water back with the help of rain in the process of water cycle, right? So that is how recharge occurs. The water comes back to the earth in the form of rain.